Talk Live Sunday edition. We will take your calls and your thoughts about whatever is on your mind. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms for you over at discord.lrn.fm. So feel free to hop into one of those, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. It's Ian.
Richie Rich.
And Melanie.
All right. So, Richie, you wanted to, I guess, rehash or get a little deeper into a subject that had been brought up at some point in the past. What's going on here?
All right. So if you have to listen to last Sunday's show to get an idea for what we're talking about. So the headline is, you don't become a state actor just by getting government funding or benefits.
Okay, but for those who weren't listening to last Sunday's show.
So we spent way too much time last week Sunday debating on whether or not YouTube and Google were a government agency because they're CIA funded.
Allegedly.
Well,
the CIA.
And here we go again.
We gave Google this money. That's not really in any kind of rational dispute.
Fair.
So the CIA admitted to this, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can look it up.
But you grilled on like how much source the data of the income, and it's like it doesn't exist. But I just found it entertaining, so I go home, Sunday show or whatever, I do my show prep for the week, and Reason writes this article, or gets it from like the Volkov conspiracy, basically saying like, no, just because, just from a legal basis, just because, you get money from the state doesn't make you a state actor or an agency of the state.
Well, and that's one of the things we were discussing is at what point does that become true? Is it when it's the majority of your funding or what? Like, is there a certain threshold at which now you've gotten enough money from the government that you basically are part of the state? And, you can look at construction companies that do road building, for instance.
Sure.
And probably the super majority of their funding comes from state contracts.
Yeah. And this article, we'll get into it, but it cites a whole bunch of different legal cases and proceedings that basically says like, no, that has nothing to do with being a state agency or a state actor.
Well, right. So the article that you have then is just the legal analysis, which has absolutely nothing to do with philosophy.
Well, we'll find out.
And if it's supposed to be legal, that's fine. But then that's what it is.
Well, and it was all brought up by a discussion that there was a court case regarding this PragerU, some sort of conservative YouTube channel that turns out they were mad because they got demonetized. They haven't actually been banned from YouTube. They just got, shoved to the second class tier or whatever. And so they filed lawsuit over it, and ultimately I believe it was an appeals court that ruled that no, you don't have a right to a platform. You don't have the right to be on this platform. You don't have a right to monetization because it's not a government agency.
Right.
YouTube, this court says, is a private company.
Even if it was a government agency, you wouldn't have a right to monetization.
Sure. Well,
but you would have a right to be on the platform.
Yes.
Which YouTube can still, even though YouTube has not kicked them off of the platform, YouTube still retains the right to do so.
Yeah. I feel like the people who do the videos at PragerU wrote their own lawsuit because that was a ridiculous lawsuit.
That's probably true. So that led to the whole conversation. If you want to join in, you're welcome to do that. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And what you were talking about with the CIA was that they were funding, I think it was Keyhole or the Google Earth.
The CIA funded, created, and directed Google Earth, so I don't know how that's not CIA.
No. I get that, and I heard that, and I understand that. But I don't know if you can then extrapolate from there and say, well, they're also funding YouTube because they funded Google Earth because they're funding some of Google.
I don't know or care if they're funding YouTube. Mm-hmm. YouTube is a product of Google.
Yeah. And money's fungible, so therefore...
Well, no. YouTube isn't its own entity. It's like saying, well, my arm isn't a state agent, even though I work for the cops.
YouTube,
like, that's ridiculous.
If they spin off YouTube into its own corporation, is it then its own entity, or is it still part of Google?
Which they
I do not
have,
care
Google
what they write on
Alphabet.
a paper. If they write on a paper and say, "Dear state, I am not the state. Sign Google." I don't care, which is all a C Corp form is. I don't care what they say.
So
you
still are of the position. You still are of the position that Google, all of Google products are essentially an arm of the state because we know that at least one received CIA funding.
And I don't care as much about the funding as much as I do about the fact that they're just being completely directed by the CIA in what they do.
That's the speculation part, right? Because you don't really know that that's true.
That's mostly not speculation. I know that they've done it in some.
See why this was going to be entertaining?
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the story. See what Reason thinks about it. Do you think they were listening to the show?
I don't know. That's the thing. I found the article's dated March 5th. So whatever day that was following the show. Maybe he had time. He listened to the archives and went, no. I'm going to let these guys, since they're going to read my articles, I'll let them know. A commentator on the Tulsi Gabbard versus Google thread writes, if Google had never received a dime of local, county, state, or federal payola, and if Google had never assisted any state actor in the collection, maintenance, and sharing of data obtained pursuant to use of Google, and if there was no immunity from civil liability conferred upon Google for intentionally or negligently publishing defamatory material or republishing the same or for deplatforming the speech or others, then I might be inclined to side with the Google Meister. So here's Reason's points. Point number 1. As a legal matter, it's clear. The First Amendment, by its own terms, applies only to the federal government. The 14th Amendment...
And state governments.
Nope.
By proxy. No?
By its own terms, nope.
Really? Even though they agreed to be part of the federal government? Why wouldn't the First Amendment... I mean, it's brought up in
the federal government was more
of
a federation, but that's not the First Amendment by its own terms. The federal government was really originally more of a federation than a country, which is why states are called states.
But I've heard the First Amendment brought up in state courts as though it applies.
It does apply, but not by its own terms.
What does that mean? It does apply, but not by its own terms.
The 14th Amendment applied all of the Constitution to the states.
So that's the next line. The 14th Amendment applies the same rules to states and local governments, but private institutions, search engines, newspapers, employers, universities, landlords, and such aren't covered. That's the so-called state action doctrine, with the state referring to the government, whether state or federal, and it explains why a newspaper or Google or others can pick and choose what to publish, what ads to run, and the like. Point number 2. The Supreme Court held in Rendell Baker versus Cohn, 1982, that government funding doesn't make private entities state actors. If the government attaches speech restrictive strings to the funding, i.e. will give you these funds only if you promise to restrict speech, then the government may be held responsible for the speech restriction. But if the government just gives funds and the private entity imposes speech restrictions entirely on its own, then there's no First Amendment problem. And the court held that in a case where the recipient was a private school that got 90% of its funding from the government. So there's your number. Mm-hmm. At least 90% is still not enough to be considered a state actor.
Legally.
According to this, yes.
Mm-hmm. But morally is a whole other question.
Right. And that's what Melanie said, which was, the legal doctrine versus the philosophy behind it. Point number 3. Likewise, getting government benefits, even being given legal monopoly status, which Google doesn't have, doesn't make you a state actor bound by the Bill of Rights. And their citation here is Jackson versus Metropolitan Edison Company, 1974.
Hold that thought.
On which Rendell Baker relied.
I want to bring Graham on here in Pennsylvania, listening on his phone via the iHeartMedia app. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, you guys were talking about like Apple, YouTube, Google. If they take any government money, are they state actors?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, if the government can regulate them, whether or not those organizations or companies want to be state actors, the government still controls them anyway.
Are we then all state actors because government presumes to regulate all of our business and individual actions?
Well, that's the mindset of a statist. If the government can control you with guns or money or whatever, they view you as just government property.
Stand by, Graham, if you want to continue the discussion here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I think there's a difference between somebody who is being forced to do a thing at the threat of violence and another person who is, bellying up to the government trough and digging in and saying, tell me what to do. I want your money. We're coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at icagoldsilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. icagoldsilver.com.
Don't miss this year's LibertyCon with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO John Mackey, Congressman Justin Amash, and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith. Attend 2 spectacular debates. Is government necessary? And does capitalism require government intervention? Network with over 70 pro-liberty organizations. This and a whole lot more. April the 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. Visit libertycon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on libertycon.com.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to join us there. And, of course, you can take control of the airwaves here. We've been discussing at what point does a company, for instance, become an arm of the state? And is it a certain funding level where they reach 90% funding?
It's at least not 90%, according to the article.
Well, this is according to some legal research,
right.
Certain court cases that have been done. But, of course, that's decisions being made by the state. What about morally? If you are receiving a majority of your funding from the state, are you basically a state actor at that point? And I think there's an argument to be made for that.
I wouldn't say a majority, especially if it's using the term loosely, non-voluntary.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So if you happen to sell groceries and state agents happen to, and 1 week a state agency happens to come in and buy a lot of groceries and you're not even keeping track of this, I would not say that then makes you a state agency.
Okay, but what about people with contracts?
Yeah, if you're selling something that only the state uses and you're like, oh, only the state uses this will be a good way to make money, and then coincidentally some guy just buys one because he wants it for fun, yeah, you're a state agency.
Okay. Is there a certain level at which that you think that you become a state agency? Like, is it 50%, 51%?
I would need way more than 50% for me to be comfortable treating them as a state agency.
Like 75%? 80%?
If the only thing you have is funding, I might need 90s. Like, I don't know. Like, I might need 90s if that's the only factor.
Your road builder might be a good example because they primarily only build state roads.
They may build like a private neighborhood road or something like
that. But that's
going to
be that's not their primary source of income. They're not sustaining on private neighborhoods or parking drives or parking lots or driveways.
They could lose that business and still be alive just on the state business alone.
Right.
Yeah. Would that be kind of your
I would say
trigger?
that based on my understanding of road contractors, of like how many roads are actually not private, if I'm at all right about that, yeah, I got no problem classifying road contractors as state agencies.
Would you say that if the state contracts from a company dried up, if they went away and they couldn't survive anymore, would that be a key factor to you as to whether or not they were essentially a state agency or state actor?
In a situation where it's contracts and you're actually curating like what customers you pick and don't pick.
Like if it puts you out of business?
Yeah,
basically?
I would have to say, I feel like I would have to say yes on that one.
Well, then you'd have to probably lower it from like 90% then, right? Because like if you had 70% of your business coming from the state and all that drops out and now you're back to 30%, are you really going to...
That's not necessarily true. If you're making $1 million and 70% of that goes away, you're still eating.
All right, so if you want to join us here, you can. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Also, are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubts? Tom Young is the author and founder of the CFO Project. He can show you how to be debt-free in 9 years or less, including your mortgage, without spending a single dollar more. With the current state of the federal debt at $23 trillion and the unfunded liabilities at $127 trillion, you can't wait to take control of your money, so don't let your retirement savings be used to bail out the government. Instead of building a plan, Tom can show you how to create strategies now to save money without penalties and as little government involvement as possible. His new book is called The Family Money Farm. The CFO Project will show you how to build wealth and eliminate debt at the same time. You can get your free copy now at cfo-project.com. Invest in yourself and your family today. Get your free copy of The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, at cfo-project.com. We still have Graham on the line here in Pennsylvania. I wanted to make sure you had a chance to get your thoughts out, Graham, so go ahead.
Yeah, I just listened to what Melanie said. Speaking on that, like what I said earlier, I look at it like this way. Imagine there's a city, and imagine the city is ruled by a mafia, crime family. And imagine that the mafia extorts money and or permission from smaller illegal operations and legitimate businesses. And the mafia says, we don't care what your business is as long as we get a cut of it and we have final say on it. That's how I would look at the government's relationship with Facebook, YouTube, or Google.
Okay, but didn't you just describe basically every city everywhere? Because essentially the government is a criminal organization doing those very things.
But the government has more of a relationship with Google. I don't know about Facebook, but they have more of a relationship with Google than just robbing them.
Yeah, but Facebook is still regulated or taxed to some extent by the American federal government.
So it can only be the federal government then? Like what about small companies that pay state and local taxes?
Well, I'm just using the federal government and those couple of companies we just mentioned as an example.
Okay. So where are you going with this?
That it doesn't really matter to me if Facebook, Google, whoever gets $1 in funding from the state, or if they get this or that contract from the state. Once the state can regulate saying, well, we're shutting you down, or we're investigating you, or we're publicly investigating you to cause your stock price to collapse, if the government has the authority to do that, to ruin the value or to cut off the access to the market, or to say we're not going to protect your patents or copyrights anymore, just by that alone, in my opinion, means that those social media companies are basically unofficially agents of the state or property of the state.
Well, so then by that logic, everyone and everything is a state agent.
Yeah.
Well, in the minds of, say, an extreme example of a statist.
Well, no, by your definition, that would make everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
every
thinking.
Company.
Too.
I mean, your definition is pretty broad.
That's the thing. That's the thing. The government, once they get like a little toe head or whatever it's called, just a little inch in the doorway, they can just say, okay, we're going to be involved in this, we're going to be involved in that, and we're going to be involved in that.
Well, there's no doubt that the government gang can make anybody their bitch, right? Like if they want to control your business, if they want to get into your life, they will make your life a living hell, and they will tell you what to do. And if you don't do it, they will send men with guns to make you do it, or they'll throw you into a jail cell. Yeah. So from that aspect, everyone can be made subservient to the state. But I don't know if you can argue, and thank you for the call, Graham, I appreciate the thoughts, that makes them a state agent. I mean, an agent is somebody who's usually doing bidding on a voluntary basis. An agent is somebody who has been hired to do a thing, and they're like, all right, tell me what to do. Here's what you got to pay me. I'll do whatever you want. Whereas a lot of people will do what the government tells them to, but under duress. They're doing it.
That's most business operations.
Yeah.
Right? Like, all I want to do is run my business, man. And if I have to pay them, whatever their percentage is so that I can, because this is my passion,
nice
this is what I want to do.
You got here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Right. And then the guy goes, I pay my tribute, and that's the end of it. That's the only way I can stay in operation, so be it.
855 450 free. See, I think that's a huge difference between. Essentially, it's the difference between being a victim of the state and an agent of the state.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. You can't define a victim as an agent, even if the victim is doing the bidding of the state agents, because they're doing it under duress. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. 855 450 free. 855 450 3733. You can share your thoughts on what makes you part of the state. It's Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Free Talk Live.
So you're just not a fan of the gays then?
Well, I would call it a perversion. I think it's one step towards bestiality.
I think Rich was locked up with a guy who was actually having sex with his dog.
That's right, the dog effer.
Yeah, well, I mean, dogs are property, and I have sex with property all the time, right? So like I want to get your opinion on this, right? So if homosexuality is one step towards bestiality, and then I mean where does it stop? We're just I frequently have sex with a rubber vagina, right, that I bought on eBay, and I wonder if you think that is also like bad.
Where's that on the spectrum?
I would call that a perversion too, as well.
Okay, so I'm going to go to hell then.
So,
I wouldn't go that far.
Am I responsible for the degradation of human society in America, sir?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial in, toll free here. You can bring up what you want. Our number, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. But you got to pay attention if you're in the Discord rooms. Just tried to get somebody on the air here, and he says he didn't hear anything.
You still get screened in there, too.
That may mean that you're having a technical difficulty. You may want to check your settings. Usually Discord works pretty well. It's the easiest to use if you just use it on your phone, because then you don't have to do any like settings stuff. You don't have to choose different sound cards and all that, whereas if you're on your laptop, there's a good chance you got more than one option and you may have the wrong one set. Check out discord.lrn.fm, and you can join the conversation there where people talk about stuff all the time, around the clock. Various different channels and discussions are available for you there over at discord.lrn.fm. And also, do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Well, with AnyPay, now you can actually earn passive income for every purchase made in those cryptocurrencies at the businesses that you recruit for AnyPay's cash register app. Here's what you do to get this financial incentive. You set up the AnyPay cash register app for yourself first. So just go download it to your smart device and set it up. Put your crypto wallet addresses in the settings. That way you're all good to go. And, test it out. Make sure you know how it works and you're familiar with it. Then go to your business that you want to bring on board with cryptocurrency and install the AnyPay cash register app there at their point of sale. And then let them know that you did it over at anypayinc.com. Go to anypayinc.com, and that's where you can get in touch with the guys over at AnyPay. They're doing great work helping local businesses accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin SV over at anypayinc.com. We've been talking about what is it that makes a business part of the state?
If it does at all, legally.
And I think there's an argument that
legally it doesn't.
Well, right. Legally it doesn't, but morally, if you are basically a monopoly imposed by the state, I think there's a strong argument that you are essentially an arm of the state.
Yeah, so I consider like the electric company to be a state agency.
Right. Even though they're technically a private company and not actually connected directly to the state, they're insulated from competition by the state. You can't just start up another power plant and start offering power service to people without going through an insane level of regulatory.
Well, it's not that you can't do it without an insane level of regulations. You can't do it, period.
In most places,
they have a government issued. They literally have a government issued monopoly.
Yeah.
Why not just have those things state run completely then?
That does happen in some places.
Why even go through the steps of saying like, oh no, it's your electric company's private if they have
because
the
if they succeed, then they let people think it's government, and if they fail, then they're like, oh, look what this private company did. They're bad.
Yeah, that's definitely one reason. It also does allow for the legal distinction. Right?
Sure.
So as we've pointed out, as you've been sharing with the Reason.com story, legally the power company isn't the state. And so that means that they don't have to allow you to have freedom of speech, or they don't have whatever it is that state agencies would have to allow you to do, have some level of access to their offices or whatever, right? Like whatever things that the state has to do because they're the state, the power company doesn't have to do because they're not, supposedly. So it wouldn't really benefit them to be part of the state. There's more benefits to them as a private agency.
That's an interesting perspective then, because if it doesn't benefit the state, right?
It benefits the state either way.
Okay.
Because they need power or whatever.
Right. But I'm saying from like the individual perspective, the consumer perspective, right? Would you not have more protection then if the power company, the cable company were state agencies?
So in theory, yes, but if they were more states than they already are, that may make them less efficient.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is an argument that because they are a private company that they are a little more efficient than if they were a state agency, but they can't be that much more efficient.
So it's like if it was a state agency, but one guy actually made commission.
Okay.
So it's a weird, horrible setup, but that does place some incentives in place to not have blackouts all the time for no reason.
Well, the blackouts happen under the private auspices, right? Like, oh no, in California, right? Oh no, we can't get the power in, so we're just going to do these rolling blackouts.
Well, but remember, because they're regulated by the state of California, there's a tremendous amount of control over whatever they're called, PS California or whatever. I
don't remember that.
There's a few different ones. Actually, it's not all of California. It's not the same power company. There's different ones that service different areas. There's at least, I think, 2 or 3. But they're all incredibly regulated by the state. And the reason why we actually dug into this in some great detail on Free Talk Live as to, well, why are they having these, what's the reason behind these rolling blackouts? It was because the power company had proposed a increase of $1 billion to their budget, but the state hadn't approved it yet. They were going through this sort of approval process where the power company makes this proposal, and then that has to open up to hear what the public thinks. And so they were taking comments from the public, and of course the state regulators are pounding their chest about how bad the power company is, and the power company's saying, well, it's we're just trying to raise our rates because we need to do all these things, and
the public is going to say we don't want the rates to be raised, right, obviously.
And it costs more money to do all these things, like keep the lines clear and clear the brush from around the line so it doesn't burn and and cause major power outages. And because they can't get the money to do those things, then they have to come up with some other way to deal with it, and the rolling power outages or the blackouts were the way they came up with to do that. Now, of course, the counter argument is, well, because they're this massive power company, this monopoly, they don't have to be efficient. So if they had competition, maybe they wouldn't need to raise their budget $1 billion. Maybe they'd only need another, $1 million or, 50 million or whatever. We don't know what a power company that it was actually subject to competition
they have
would
no
look like.
price signals on either end.
So it's just the whole thing is an absolute mess.
Sure. So, and my question and my perspective is, what is best for the end consumer? What is best for the individual?
Well, obviously a free market.
A private electric company, which doesn't exist as far as I know.
So how do you get there from where you are? Is it
you would have to deregulate completely
to petition the state regulators to remove that yoke?
You would have to deregulate completely, and of course the power company is going to fight that.
Of course.
Because they want the regulations, they want to remain the monopoly. Even though it makes their life difficult in a lot of ways, it also makes it easier in that they're not competing with anybody. So you would then have to make it so that anybody could access the polls, So those are controlled by usually the state, or I believe in this case the power company itself, from what I understand.
That's one of the reasons why they get that monopoly, right? It's because if another company wanted to put it up, you'd have duplicate poles and duplicate lines going everywhere. And you can't take, and from the power company's perspective, right? They laid out that initial investment, right? They dug the holes, they planted the poles, they ran the lines.
Well, right. So there
are
are natural barriers to entry. If I wanted to go open an electric company tomorrow and there was no state, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. It does cost money to lay infrastructure,
right? And
there's no good reason why you should just be able to use somebody else's infrastructure, if either for free or for a price if they're not willing to rent it to you. But right now, it is illegal to make your own infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, that infrastructure was put up with the blessings of the state, right? Because they're putting it up on the easement or wherever. There's that magical, however long, however many inches or feet it is from the road to your property, where essentially the state could just come along and say, well, now we're going to put in a new whatever here. We're going to add these underground channels, or we're going to put in fiber optics, or whatever it is.
But theoretically, even in absent the state, right, because of those prohibitions, those barriers to entry, it's possible that these state-granted monopolies would end up being natural territorial monopolies anyway, because a second electric company doesn't want to run a second set of poles right next to it.
Well, but maybe it wouldn't
unless somebody came up with a better type of infrastructure.
Well, but wait a minute. Maybe it wouldn't be what you're thinking, right? Because we're in the mindset of, well, it's got to be a massive electric company competing with the other electric company. What if it was just a neighborhood electric company?
Could be.
What if they had like a little nuclear reactor?
For it.
That they hooked up, and it was enough to power an entire neighborhood, and they just ran the lines just to the neighbors. I mean, that wouldn't be that costly to set up. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Help! Seriously, I'm too young for hair loss.
My hairline keeps creeping back. Receding?
I got this bald spot. It's thinning everywhere. I'm gonna have to give up and shave it.
Dude, put down the razor, because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, is about to give you your real hair back permanently. Don't ignore the signs of hair loss. Bosley is giving away an absolutely free information kit that reveals all the signs, and a free gift card to anyone who texts KIT88 to 85850. Bosley will show you for free how great your hair could look. Using the latest technology, Bosley's solution to hair loss is permanent and protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Plus, since Bosley has new non-surgical options, you owe it to yourself to text now for an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off, no matter what level of hair loss you have. Text KIT88 to 85850. KIT88 to 85850.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.fm now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is the live Sunday edition of the program. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Richie Rich,
and Melanie.
You can bring up anything that you want. Coming up, a $3.8 million bike rack. It could only be brought to you by the government.
I think it's an older article, right? Like at least a couple of weeks. I think I've seen that.
Yeah,
headline.
it's a couple weeks old.
Okay.
It's a golden one, so we'll get into that one on the way here. And, because we are talking about the inefficiencies of monopoly, and we ended up discussing the power company and, how it is that they're basically an arm of the state, even though they're technically a private company. They have a total monopoly, and it's granted by the violence of the state. They have the ability to sell services. Now, of course, the state sets the rates at which they can sell those services, so they're completely controlled. But that doesn't mean that it's a good service for people. It doesn't mean the customers have a good experience. There's very few people that I know of that sing the praises of the power company.
Yeah, or the cable company, for that matter.
Well, now, at the very least, the cable company has some semblance of competition in the form of satellite television.
Sure.
But that's actually in spite of in spite of the regulatory agencies. That was a sort of a workaround that came out because there were no other options.
Well, even now with the phone company, right? The phone company, through their internet service, sometimes offers television.
This is true. Yeah. Phone companies have installed fiber optics in certain areas, and that has allowed them to offer their own television services. Yep. So again, technology has sort of overcome some of these limitations, at least in those areas. But it has yet to overcome the area of power companies, as far as there's only one in most places. So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And also, do want to make sure that we say thank you to James Hell, who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier. James contributes $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It is a way for you to get behind what we do here and help Free Talk Live get on more radio stations around the country and bring more internet listeners on board as well. So if you appreciate the work that we do, then please, you can join the AMP program just like James Hell has done over at ampamp.freetalklive.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, we'll start with Wayne in Missouri, listening to KFEQ there in St. Joseph. Go ahead, Wayne. Got to turn that radio down, though, because I can hear us in the background. And you can tell Wayne's listening.
Hello.
Yes, there he is. All right. Wayne, you're on.
I want to know if this guy that's on the radio has ever been in law enforcement.
Oh, you must be listening to a previous episode of Free Talk Live. You're probably hearing the last, or at least an hour from last night's show. What makes you ask the question? I'm just curious, Wayne.
Because, I'm not on the air, am I?
You are on the air, so please do not curse. Otherwise, we're going to have to hit the dump button, and I'll be very sad.
I just want to know if he's ever been a law enforcement.
You're asking if any of the hosts of the show have either of you ever been or currently are a law enforcement officer? This is actually an important question that all of our hosts should be asked.
I have not, and I have never been.
Well, then he don't know what's going on.
Why? What do you mean?
Why?
Yeah.
Because any law enforcement officer will not take down somebody that
what?
Nice.
You're not driving right now, are you, Wayne? Because the law enforcement might be looking for you.
Hey, no, I'm sitting at home. I'm a Vietnam vet. I was an MP in Vietnam. I know how this stuff works.
I want to know what conversation you were listening to prior to making the call.
So he was listening to us talking about law enforcement. We were, as usual, critical of some of the things that law enforcement does, like, basically advocating that law enforcement should only be, arresting murderers and rapists and things like that. So I guess you're calling to disagree with that, Wayne. Are you saying that that the police should be going after underage drinkers and other people who have not harmed others?
No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you they should enforce the law.
Oh, right. So, like, if the law says that an escaped slave should be brought back to his master so he can be whipped,
Don't get on that subject. The subject
that's
is
enforcing the law, sir.
But you would support that.
No.
No.
The law enforcement officer will not take down and kick somebody in the head and
clearly you have not seen the videos.
Okay, so should we arrest a bunch of cameras for perjury?
What's that?
Should we arrest a bunch of cameras for perjury then?
Pretty much so.
I don't think he understands what you're saying.
I was a law enforcement officer.
He's so
Vietnam.
wasted right now. He can barely even speak. Well, at least you're one of the people who's on the side of law enforcement, right? No matter what it is they do, you're in favor of it, right?
No, sir. No, sir. That's not right.
Give me an example of something where you disagree with what law enforcement is doing.
Well, I was on static guard in Vietnam, Saigon. 4-star general come up to me. He says, this was after curfew, 11 o'clock at night.
Why were you breaking curfew?
He was an MP.
He was breaking curfew. He had a sidearm on. I saluted him. He says, you stand at attention when you talk to me. I said, no, sir, I don't have to. This man on the side of my arm says MP outranks you. He was a 4-star general. And they finally took him away. I told him he was going to have to move off my post. He was interfering with my duties.
That's still taking the side of law enforcement then, because you outranked him and you were enforcing the law even on a 4-star general.
I never abused him. I just told him like it was.
Okay.
They took him away and smacked his wrist.
That's a nice story, but you still didn't really answer my question about what is it that law enforcement does today that you think is wrong, that you disagree with?
Any officer that goes outside the boundaries should probably be dealt with.
Okay, give me an example.
Wait, probably.
I want to know, what do you mean? Like, when you say outside of the boundaries, give me an example.
Have you ever been a law enforcement agent?
We already covered this.
What about arresting 6-year-olds in the classroom?
That's a good question. Yeah, what about that?
No.
No, okay.
So what should happen to the officers that have arrested 6-year-olds in the classroom?
That should not be allowed.
You should only be arresting them outside of the classroom, Richie.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you
no,
what
that's not
happened.
fair because that's how Richie asked the questions.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what happens. The media just shows you what you want to see, what they want you to see.
Well, the video showed an officer arresting a 6-year-old in a classroom.
It was something that provoked him to do that.
Yeah, he got called to the scene by the administrator at the school, and then he chose to arrest a 6-year-old.
That's your story. There's more to the story than what
you're... right.
Okay, what could possibly be added to that story that would make that okay in your mind?
Well, this little 6-year-old could be not cooperative.
Okay, so that would mean so that was part of the story, right? Was the 6-year-old was out of line? The 6-year-old was being a brat. They were doing something in
6-year-olds and get up on somebody that needs to be arrested.
What?
Get off the 6-year-olds and get up to somebody that needs to be arrested.
Well, the 6-year-old was arrested.
Okay, but you were just saying that you believe there could be some circumstances under which the 6-year-old would need to be arrested, and I would agree with you. If the 6-year-old had just stabbed someone to death, then yeah, I would say go ahead and arrest them. But if the 6-year-old was, however, just disturbing the class, maybe,
having an emotional breakdown,
jumping out of their chair or whatever it would be that his 6-year-old would do to disturb the classroom, I wouldn't think that an arrest would be necessary. Would you, Wayne?
Here's what I want to tell you.
All right. You don't want to have a conversation.
You stand up for what's right.
Do you now?
I think that's what we do on the show on a nightly basis.
Stand up for what's right. And if you're wrong, it don't matter. You done what you thought was right. There's some reason why he took this 6-year-old down. There's some reason why I jumped on that 4-star general.
Because you had the force of law behind you.
A grown adult man who's a 4-star general is not at all whatsoever the same as a child civilian walking around in a civilian setting.
Hey,
what about the caretaker for the autistic guy that got shot with his hands
what's
up?
going on? Because the media is just telling you what you want to hear.
You think we're getting this from the media,
There's no circumstances that I can think of in which would justify arresting a 6-year-old. But first of all, in most jurisdictions, 6-year-olds can't even aren't even subject to criminal prosecution.
Okay, I'll get off the 6-year-old. An autistic person having a mental breakdown, his caretaker sits down with his hands in the air to talk to the officers to let them know that it's an autistic person having a mental breakdown. The officer shoots the caretaker, who's on the ground sitting with his hands in the air. What should happen?
That is just propaganda.
See, he just doesn't believe it. See, it's all the media. You're just being manipulated by the media, Richie. Thank you for the call, Wayne. Toll-free number here. Even though a lot of these stories don't even make it to the media, it's just video that gets released online. And it's not like on ABC News or something like that. Media ignores a lot of this stuff because they support the cops.
You will understand the true intent of the Founding Fathers when they wrote the Constitution if you attend this free webinar. Chris Ann Hall, president of Liberty First University, doesn't simply regurgitate what some professor or expert has said about the Constitution. She relays the thoughts and opinions of those who wrote the documents. Her straightforward, passionate, easy-to-understand style lets anyone grasp the principles of liberty. Join us at lfu.freetalklive.com to watch the free pre-recorded webinar. Watch now at lfu.freetalklive.com.
Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com. I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,675. Silver at $17.35. and Bitcoin is trading around $9,122. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, Operation Palladium has begun. Hundreds of agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement have entered New York and other sanctuary cities in a fresh attempt to round up undocumented immigrants. Mid-Press News reports the directive, according to officials, is simple. Arrest as many undocumented immigrants as possible and flood the streets with officers. Beginning a 24/7 surveillance and detention program, ICE leadership has requested over 500 special agents who normally work fighting trafficking and organized crime to bolster the agency's numbers. That follows an earlier decision to deploy immigration SWAT teams to round up undocumented immigrants in sanctuary cities. New York Times reporter Annie Carrill shared a viral image taken through a peephole of a Bronx apartment, showing an ICE agent brandishing an assault weapon and demanding to enter. Carrill claims that the officers were going door to door, threatening to force their way in, and residents said they did not present a warrant, both breaches of the law. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. News of the coronavirus and the resulting potentially deadly disease spreading throughout the United States and across the world continues to develop rapidly. The Mind Unleashed reports that according to a map managed by Johns Hopkins, there are now over 101,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and nearly 3,500 deaths worldwide. The CDC, meanwhile, is reportedly refusing to test a nurse with symptoms that volunteered to assist with COVID-19 patients at a California hospital. According to a letter posted on Twitter by Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, the CDC claims that she cannot be tested because she was properly protected during her time volunteering. Meanwhile, Dr. Feigl-Ding said that 22 million Californians are now eligible for free medically necessary COVID-19 testing. However, there may still be a discrepancy when it comes to deciding which situations warrant testing and which ones don't. As coronavirus panic hits the United States, a financial lobbying group is attempting to use the crisis to push through the deregulation of its industry. Mid-Press News reports the Bank Policy Institute, a Washington-based lobbying organization representing many of the nation's largest banks, released a set of proposals this week, the most important of which recommends that the Federal Reserve lower capital requirements to zero. That would mean banks could lend an unlimited amount without having any assets or wealth to back it up. It also advocated relaxing the so-called stress tests that force banks to show that they can withstand economic shocks. This, it claims, would help America fight the COVID-19 virus. The report's lead author was BPI CEO Greg Baer, former managing director of J.P. Morgan Chase. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Shortly after creating a profile on OkCupid.com, local man Malcolm Lighty, a person with severe psychological and emotional issues, told reporters he thought it was best to just never mention the fact there was something seriously wrong with him on the popular dating website.
The thing about online dating is you don't want to get too personal too quickly.
Like, for example, how I'm a textbook narcissist with unresolved intimacy issues, or the fact that I have no sense of empathy. Nobody wants to hear about that. When you're making a first impression, it's important that you keep it casual and don't include too much information. You don't want to be talking about your inability to maintain a relationship because of a history of violent mood swings.
Lighty told reporters while his OkCupid profile includes extensive details about his favorite movies, love of cooking, and interest in cars, he thought he was, quote, just better off not mentioning the borderline personality disorder that makes it impossible for him to connect with another person on any kind of meaningful level.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here as we launch into the second hour of the program. Of course, the toll-free numbers are available for you at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. A government, we'll tell you where, has spent $3.8 million on some bike racks. And apparently, the job's not done yet.
Oh, my.
Tell you more about that. Coming up with you tonight, it's Ian.
Richie Rich.
And Melanie.
So we've been talking about government monopolies and their inefficiency, and overall the discussion has been, well, it started out about what is it that defines a state agent? You know, at what point, if you're a business with government contracts, at what point do you basically become the state? You know, if you've got X percentage of your revenue is coming from the government. There's probably more to say about that. I think you'd barely even gotten into a couple paragraphs on this reason piece.
Well, there's 5 main points, and we've gone through 3 of them. So there's only
great.
2 more.
So we'll get into more of that. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome here. Let's go to the phones. To the fun. WNIS listener Scott is on the line, listening in Norfolk, Virginia. Go ahead, Scott.
Hi, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind?
First-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to bring to the discussion the potential that there is competition for the power companies in the guise of I live in the country and I'm on the local rural electric provider. It's a cooperative, and I do not get my power from the main power source governed by the state. Now, yes, the electric cooperative has to meet the same criteria as the primary provider.
Are you required to tie into the primary provider?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
Okay. How does it work though? Is the primary provider in that area? Could you purchase power from them?
I don't really know, because the house I bought was already plumbed, if you will, for power from the cooperative. And
who owns the lines? Is it the cooperative?
The cooperative does, yes.
Do they own the poles on which the lines are run?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so then presumably there's not a second set of power lines up there for the major provider. Are they just not in that region or not in that area at all? Do you know?
They're not. They're just not in that area.
Okay.
It's
I'm liking this.
It's a sporadic. Yeah, it's a sporadic set, but it does tend to have its benefits. If we have a power outage, I mean, I live in the country. We get ice storms and tree limbs come down and bring the lines down and so on and so forth, or even heavy wet snow. But those linemen are, I mean, they're on it. They're on it so quickly. It's, you don't have to sit on hold with the main primary provider to let them know that your power's out.
How do you guys generate the power out there? Like, what's the main source?
It's coal-fired, primarily coal-fired plant, but it also is supplemented with local nuclear from Surrey nuclear power plants.
So there you go. That's what you were suggesting a little bit earlier, Ian, like a small nuclear plant just running a neighborhood or some sort.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that their plant is much larger, but yes, the nuclear technology can allow for that.
Yes, that plant is obviously heavily regulated by the NRC and so on and so forth.
So you're basically a co-owner as a co-op, right? You're part owner essentially of this power company.
That's actually correct. Once a year, we get a check back, and it's just for being a part owner. I mean, it's usually in November. I think the last check I got was like $111 or something like that. It's just a little windfall profit once a year.
How does that work? If you're how are you getting a check back if you're a paying customer and co-owner? I mean, shouldn't they just reduce your rates? How does that work? Why are you getting a check back?
That would cut it too close. You wouldn't be able to operate.
I see. So it's later on
like
at the end of the
refund
year. If they've made enough money, you get a dividend basically.
Correct.
That's the idea. I see.
Yes, that's correct. The other point I wanted to bring to the discussion from a competition standpoint, and I know this would not work for all users of energy, but I mean, I have the option of putting solar panels all over the roof of my house and generating power from alternative source.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you do, but that's not the case everywhere.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I prefaced it by saying that it wouldn't work for everybody. So, just that part of.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify, because when you said it wouldn't work for everybody, I took that to mean like a limitation of physics, whereas there's a limitation of government in a lot of places.
Well, there's also a limitation of sunlight in some places as well, where it just wouldn't work
well,
to do solar.
I was thinking in terms of multifamily complexes like apartment buildings. You still have to pay the power company to power your devices.
Well, the reason I asked my question was because even if you put up solar panels, a lot of times you're still required to tie in to the main line.
Yeah, there's regulations in
in a lot of places you're just banned from having solar panels.
Really?
Well, okay. Yeah. Okay.
You sound like you live in a really good area for electricity, and I'm glad that there are places like that. It's just not the case in most places.
I want to know how many customers your area serves? Like how many people are tied into this co-op?
In my zip code, I don't know, 616, something like that. Small, but it's basically scattered all over southeast Virginia. And,
so this company serves how many thousands of people across Virginia? I mean, what is their total?
About 30,000, I believe.
So that's pretty small. That's pretty small. Cool, man. Hey, thanks for sharing. Anything else you want to throw out there, Scott? Go ahead.
One last point, and then I'll get off the phone. You brought to the discussion cable and satellite as far as being competition for one another. As a consumer, I could choose not to use either one of them. I don't have to have a television set. I do have to have power running my house.
Yeah, I've never owned a TV.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But it is still.
I have too many.
It is still a monopoly as far as cable services concerned, because a given governmental structure in an area will essentially grant that to one company. I mean, it's certainly true that you're not obligated to hook up to their service, but if you do, you don't have any other choices for cable.
Well, and let's also say that power and electricity is a luxury item.
You could live without it. I mean,
and there's places in the world that don't have it.
Yeah,
right. Like,
that's true.
They're that far behind.
You would still have a problem. There are people who have had things happen to them, like had CPS called on them because their lights were out. You would still have a problem without having electricity if you live in the U.S.
Thank you, Scott, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily true. I mean, there are some people who choose to not have power. That is just, they're living out in the woods and they just don't want to have that kind of fancy stuff. Those people exist. Now, whether or not CPS knows about them is a whole other question, or if they got nosy neighbors. They probably don't have neighbors.
You're never going to have any legal issues for not having cable.
Sure.
You can acquire legal issues by not having electricity.
Yeah. But again, if you live out in the middle of the woods and you don't even have neighbors, there's not anybody to report on you. Because usually the people that bring CPS about are busybody neighbors who, they don't have anything better to do than watch what you're doing over at your house and call police and call CPS and things like that. So if you're living out in the woods and you can't even see the next house, then odds are whoever it is that's the closest to you doesn't know who you are, and if they do know, they don't care what you're doing, because that's just kind of the mentality when you're out there.
That's a nice place to be, man.
Yeah, let's go to Ratspeed. He's on the line on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Ratspeed.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, where are you calling from tonight?
The internet.
Did he rewind the tape to say internet?
Yeah. No, I've thought about that. That's not just a cop-out. I've actually thought about that if I did consider myself to be part of a nationality It would be the internet. I would really think the internet is some form of nation, but that's not why I called, though.
Sure.
The reason why I called is because this discussion about what is a government agency and what isn't, that actually brings the whole idea about the post office and their peculiar situation that's going on.
All right, well, stand by. Hold that thought, Ratspeed. We'll bring it back here in moments. We can talk about the post office, because it's always in trouble. In the last decade, it's been pretty bad. Hemorrhaging cash, big time, needing to do something different, but they have to ask Congress's permission anytime they want to do something different, so they're pretty hamstrung. There's more coming up. Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dinovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dinovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dinovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dinovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up whatever you want here. The toll free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Richie Rich,
and Melanie.
Also, coming up in just about a month from now, maybe 4 weeks, I think, it's going to be LibertyCon happening April 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. If you want to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations for the purposes of maybe career advancement or internship opportunities, for instance, you can do that at LibertyCon and meet some cool people all over the place, I imagine. It's going to be a big convention. I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to a LibertyCon before, but I will be there, and Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event. You can join us there and save $10 off your tickets by using code FTL at libertycon.com. Already the tickets are very affordable. They're, I think, $99 for the regular price tickets, so knock $10 off that by going to libertycon.com and using code FTL. It's April 3rd through the 5th, and if you're a student, you get an even bigger discount. Student tickets, I think, are like $49, $50, something like that. There's going to be some debates. There's going to be great speakers like John Mackey and others. Head over to libertycon.com, and we will see you there in early April, the 3rd through the 5th. As we continue back with Rat Speed, he's calling us from the internet. Rat Speed, go ahead with your thoughts.
So, to recap real quick, because it's been a while since we discussed, since the beginning of the show, Melanie, you were mentioning that in order, well, at least one of the, in your opinion, if I'm not mistaken, you're saying that one of the reasons why something is a government agency or is an agent of the government, an extension of it, is because they get funding. And the post office.
Okay, so no. So just because you get any government funding at all does not make you a government agency. Google is a government agency because they are funded, directed, and controlled by the CIA. The CIA is an arm of the federal government. I don't know why that's confusing.
Okay.
The post office is also a federal agency.
Yes. Now this gets interesting. The history of the post office is a little bit interesting. From its inception in 1792 all the way until 1971, when the Union earned collective bargaining rights, Nixon decided to drop them as a direct cabinet department and turn them into an independent agency, and they are funded by their own stamps. In other words,
they are
there's
not.
no longer any
What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean they're not, Melanie? They're funded by their own operating revenue.
No.
Supposedly.
Yeah, there's no subsidies.
Okay, so because I knew this was going to be an issue, come back to the page. USPS.
It's also a lot of advertising, right? Like your junk mail, the junk mail you get.
So that's why we get the junk mail, is because they don't get any subsidies from taxpayers.
So facts.usps.com .1. This is the kind of language that these individuals use. Zero tax dollars used. The Postal Service receives no tax dollars for operating expenses and relies on the sales of postage products and services to fund its operations.
Yes.
In English, that leads one to believe that they don't take tax money, but that is not what that sentence means legally. That does not count pensions. That does not count buildings. That does not count trucks. That does not count a lot of things that a normal human being would think of as expenses because they are legally assets.
I wasn't expecting there would be any contention on this fact. All of the
you called the wrong show, sir.
Okay, no. Well,
this is a very shadily worded sentence, and this is the sentence that they have all over their website.
We've read about this before in the past, and as I understand it, because I thought they were funding their pensions with taxes, but I don't think that they are.
Okay.
On this website, about.ups.com, retirement, the Postal Service participates in the Federal Retirement Program, which provides a deferred benefit pension as well as disability coverage. Eligibility is determined by your age and number of years of credible service.
I was going to cover this. Let me see if I can, because I know we have limited amount of times. So up until 1971, they were subsidized by tax spending. When Nixon lost the war, or the battle between them and between his cabinet and the union, he decided to drop them and saying, okay, you guys are on your own. If you guys want to have collective bargaining rights, you're going to have to deal with your own budget. And from there, that's when they started having quote unquote subsidies, if you want to call them that, through spam, through junk mail. And that's why they have so many, deals with like Amazon, things like that, because they're still trying to figure out how to make money now that people don't send letters.
Well, if they're private and they haven't made money since the 70s, how do they still exist?
No, what do you mean? I say they do make money. They make it through the collection of the funds that are used for sending the mail from the commercial entities that hire them to send that mail. In other words, I have a bunch of bulk mail. I need to have that sent in the post office. I'm going to get, so they set the rates. Actually,
well, that's not true either. Congress sets the rates.
Wait. Well, okay, hold on here. So they have certain regulation among themselves, but the reason why they are a government agency is because essentially the government says they are. It's just like the CIA. The CIA is also an independent agency of the government.
The
so long
CIA is not a private organization.
No, I said they're an independent agency.
What does that mean, though? They're independent. That means that they...
That's what gets really messy. That's what gets really messy.
It really doesn't. You're either a state agency or you're not.
They operate outside the purview of the federal government.
Yes. I'm willing to have a honest debate as to whether YouTube is a government agency or not, but I'm not going to. No, I'm not. Whether or not the CIA is a government agency is not up for debate. I'm sorry.
I'm not making this claim, Melanie. This is on Wikipedia.
But you're the one calling. So you are making the claim. Wikipedia is also making the claim. I don't care. Wikipedia didn't call me to say this foolishness. You did.
Because I was using this as my premise for the reason why I was calling in, not for the actual debate itself, because this was established fact. Now, whether or not the facts can be debated, that's a different story altogether. But
it's clearly a disputed fact as far as Melanie's concerned.
No, it's not a fact, though. The CIA being a private agency is not a fact in any use of the term.
I'd like to look it up on Wikipedia. I mean, there's no way I can continue the conversation
Wikipedia could
in
say
the
that
direction
pi
I was
equals
going.
3. That doesn't make it true.
I understand that, Melanie. Calm down. There's no reason to get upset about this. I'm just stating what the official.
Okay, but here's what I don't understand.
If you're not going to adopt the position, don't tell me what it is.
Hold on,
because you're the one. You're the one we're talking to.
Okay, you guys aren't getting anywhere. Look, what I don't understand is how the post office can lose billions of dollars every single year and not have the government come along with taxpayer money and shore them up. How are they losing that much money and still operating without having some sort of taxpayer funding? Now, they claim they don't, and everything we've ever read says they don't, but I don't understand where does that money come from?
What venture capitalist would invest in the post office at this point?
Well, one simple word: corruption. What happened is when the post office, private lobbyists, mainly Republican, went to Congress to lobby them to start trying to privatize the post office. The post office stands to make private entities a ton of money if they can gain control over it. So that retirement fund, Melanie, that you were mentioning, that's actually, there are millions or billions of dollars being held because the government says that it can, to hold it for a retirement fund that it's probably never going to see, because by the time that they actually get that money, the post office probably won't exist as it stands today. It'll probably be privatized. So
pensions are fractionally funded.
According to
they're not zero funded.
There's more coming up here. Thank you, Ratspeed, for the call tonight. They're $100 billion in the hole.
Don't miss this year's Liberty with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO John Mackey, Congressman Justin Amash, and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith. Attend 2 spectacular debates. Is government necessary, and does capitalism require government intervention? Network with over 70 pro-liberty organizations. This and a whole lot more. April the 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. Visit LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on LibertyCon.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up whatever you want here. Our number, 855-450, free like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Richie Rich.
And Melanie.
And also want to make sure that you know about Bitcoin.com. That is where you can go to learn about Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and cryptocurrency in general. Maybe you're new to these concepts. Well, there's they got like an introductory section over there. I think they call it the Bitcoin Academy. At least that's what it was called the last time I looked at it. I don't have to go there very often because I'm not new to Bitcoin. But even for people who aren't new to Bitcoin, there's some useful news and information over there at the news site at news.bitcoin.com. So be sure you get on over to bitcoin.com where you can learn about cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Or you can buy some over at local.bitcoin.com where you can use dozens of payment methods globally. So head on over to bitcoin.com and get started on your cryptocurrency journey. As we continue here, we've been talking most recently about the Postal Service and whether or not they're a government agency and what that even really means. I mean, they are technically sort of semi-private in that Ratspeed was correct from my understanding that they are supposedly operating and their budget is coming from their sales and their services, the things that they provide, but
supposedly being the
they
keyword
go way
there.
out of their way to make statements that make that sound accurate.
And you're saying they're covering something up.
It's not.
But that's just your belief, right? Like, you don't know for sure.
I mean, no, I'm not like an omnipotent God, but based on the available evidence, that is the only conclusion.
Have you read the financial statements of the U.S. Postal Service, Melanie? Can you cite the specific figures of where they're getting all their funding from?
They're getting it from the federal government and stamps.
They have to be getting something from the federal government. I mean, at least
because like the math doesn't add up. You cannot run a business for 30 years, $1 billion in the hole, and still exist.
It's not just $1 billion in the hole. According to Reason.com, this is from not quite a year ago, May of 2019, and this isn't unusual. They've had there's been stories like this about the Postal Service for the last decade plus. Basically, ever since email came out, they started to lose volume on their day-to-day mail.
But stamp prices, first-class stamps, just keep going up in price.
But it's not enough to fill in the gaps. It's not enough to stop the hemorrhaging of the cash. Now, they are seeing more packages being delivered, and so they're making money there, but they're still overall losing billions. According to the story here, they lost more than $2 billion in the second quarter of the fiscal year in 2019. And then, according to other stories, they've lost $3.6 billion in just 6 months. The agency has $100 billion in unfunded pension liabilities and, quote, no clear path to profitability, according to a White House assessment report released in 2018. The post office
let those pensioners starve then.
They have lost $69 billion since 2007. So you can't just lose that kind of money and stay in business if you're just running off of revenues from the stamps. So there's something else, going on here. I'm not an expert on finance.
Well, Ratspeed said corruption, right? He didn't specifically say...
Corruption is not an income stream. It might be a type of income stream. It might be a description of your income stream, but it's not an income stream.
Let's go to Jim. He's in Virginia listening to WNIS in Norfolk. Hello, Jim. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey there.
Hi.
I've got 3 quick things to add to this conversation. And the first thing I'm going to say is going to sound outrageous, and I wish I could give you some attribution for this. But when it comes to Wikipedia, what I've been told and what I've actually seen in the past is that it was started by a retired, quote-unquote, CIA agent. So there's a well-known saying, start with Wikipedia, but never finish there when you're looking for information, okay?
Yeah, well, they have the citations down at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's, your facts and there's other people's facts and there's truth. But
what you do is you look at the citation and then you determine whether or not you think that is a valid citation.
Can you find corroborating evidence?
Yeah.
Right. And of course, anybody can go in there and change things around. Not anybody, but anyways, but the issue about the post office, where do they get their funding and all of that whole issue? There's something that I can give you a personal example of what I know about what they do, okay? I'm not with the post office, but one day I was at the local gas station that is near the post office, and I looked down on the ground, and it's like, oh, there's a card there. And so I pick up the card. Somebody dropped their credit card for the pump, and I'm looking at them like, GSA, and it's GSA for the post office.
GSA, what does that stand for? What does GSA stand for?
Government Services Administration.
Okay.
If the post office is not paying for their own gas, and the gas is being funneled to them through a government credit card.
Gotcha.
Right? And the thing is, I took the card to the post office, and I went and I asked for the postmistress, and she wasn't in, so the assistant came out, and when she saw the card, she became very agitated. Where did you get this from? And I'm like, I'm doing you a favor bringing it back to you. It's like,
seriously, back up.
Give me the third degree, like, it was on the ground, but she didn't want me to,
The secret is out.
Give it right. Okay. Well, Trump has brought up the issue that, Jeff Bezos with Amazon is getting a sweetheart deal, and all of his packages are being shipped through the post office at lower rates. And by the way, our stamp rates are going up and up to make up the difference for his low cost postage. But that's
and they're
a whole
not covering it, because if they really needed the stamps to cover the
because then they'd
shortage,
be making money.
Yeah.
We have no idea how much a stamp really should cost because it's a federal agency and they don't have price signals.
Right. It shouldn't cost the same amount of money to send something from Alaska to Florida as it costs from Florida to Georgia, but it does.
Or Keene to Manchester.
When it comes to the Postal Service. Jim, any other thoughts? Go ahead.
Now, the issue about Google and the whole thing that started this whole conversation. Okay, Google was a DARPA project. Okay, Facebook was a DARPA project. When the money that starts out these projects, okay, and they turn into billion-dollar, and by the way, Alphabet Incorporated owns Google and YouTube and all other things. But I always wondered, it's like, how is it that Sergey, that they're able to land their 747 at Moffett Field, and it's like, well, they got a sweetheart deal by leasing part of it from NASA for 60 years for 1 point something billion.
That's still a sweetheart deal. That doesn't make them part of NASA or part of the government.
But the thing is that these are deals that not everybody else is having made available to them. And I'm saying, when you start out being, a research project and then you go commercial, okay, there's still government fingers in the pie.
Yeah, I have looked.
It's baked into it.
For states' involvement in Facebook and found allegations of it, was not able to ever find anything solid on that. Google, though, is definitely.
Well, I mean, certainly Facebook is looking to appease the state. Just look at their behavior after they announced the Facebook Libra last year. I mean, they've just been they're trying to do everything they can to get into the good graces of the state. Jim, thanks for
anybody who has ever tried to do a search on Google for a controversial subject that doesn't help, a certain side's narrative. Their stuff gets disappeared all the time. You can go to the Wayback Machine, and whole websites are disappeared from the Wayback Machine. So, who's doing a favor for who?
Thanks, Jim, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks. Here's a story. Since we've been talking about the post office, I've got some more updated numbers because I was giving you some numbers from earlier in 2019. There is a report here from Government Executive. This is a website for government executives.
Is it a .gov website?
No, it's a commercial site. Govexec.com, written in November of 2019, Postal Service doubles annual losses to $8.8 billion in fiscal year 2019, more than doubling its losses from the previous year. We can tell you more about the just terrible financial shape of the post office. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Trump, however, has proposed a $97 billion savings package that should so-called restore solvency to the cash-strapped agency. Believe that one? We'll tell you more coming up. Free Talk Live.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's a clip from The Rachel Ray Show testing the results of Instantly Ageless.
Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe. If you're looking to try to turn back the clock on a budget, in the privacy of your own home, but actually there's some recent technologies emerging, almost like changes the behavior of the skin while it sits on the skin.
She went off to try a product called Instantly Ageless.
Yeah, instantly you could see a difference. Even the cameraman were like, wow, look at the difference.
Yeah,
but I would definitely use this product.
This product, within minutes of applying it, it was actually a very dramatic rejuvenation.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
I'm here with Scott Useum, founder of OMG Tax. Tell us how your company helps our listeners out there who have a problem with the IRS.
My team of lawyers, enrolled agents, and licensed tax experts remove wage garnishments sometimes in the same day. We even have reduced the total debt some of our clients were required to pay through what is known as an offer in compromise.
Can you give us an example of somebody you help?
Oh, can I ever? We have taken a $500,000 liability with the IRS Guess what? The client didn't pay a dime through the representation known as non-collectible status with the government.
If you owe the IRS more than $10,000 and you want to see if it's possible to pay a lot less, call OMG Tax right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. That's 800-486-8112.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. Bring up what you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've been just talking throughout the show tonight about what is it that makes a company private versus a state agency.
If they admit to being a state agency on their own website, I'd say that's a pretty good indicator that they're a state agency.
Are you talking about the Postal Service?
Yes.
In that case? Well, they sort of try to pretend like they're a private company.
Oh, they go way out of their way to try to make people think they're a private company, but
they have a monopoly granted to them.
And they're run and operated
mail.
and funded by the federal government.
They are not necessarily funded by the federal government, and that's kind of one of the things we were talking about. They are funded ostensibly by their sales of the products and the services that they offer.
The only claim they're even making for that is operating expenses.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But they're also, so in addition to that, they also have to go to the federal government to get approvals on how to run their business. So they are still very, very controlled.
Yeah, they're not
by the federal government. So, for instance, if they wanted to, as they proposed in recent years, to cut back on delivery instead of doing 6 days a week, do only 3 or something like that, they would have to get approval from Congress in order to just change that.
And private companies don't have to do that.
I know that.
So facts that
I agree with you that they are a government agency masquerading as though they are private.
So facts.usps.com, point 5, competition and collaboration. The Postal Service both competes and collaborates with the private sector.
Yeah.
UPS and FedEx pay the Postal Service to deliver hundreds of millions of their ground packages, and USPS pays
and Amazon,
UPS and FedEx for air transportation. So it makes no sense to say that you compete with the private sector if you yourself are the private sector.
I agree with you.
What if they change that one word to competes with the private sector to competes in the private sector?
then that sentence would make sense if they were a private company.
Okay.
Right. And
but they can't
they're not.
say that because they know that they're a federal agency.
They're not as...
No, everything on this page is technically accurate. It's just highly misleading and
Yeah.
obfuscated.
Right. They aren't a truly private company. They should be. They should be set loose. Like, okay, here you go. Good luck. If you can live or die, based on whether or not you can sell enough products or services to continue existing, good luck. If you need to, sell off your assets at a fraction of their value so somebody else can take it over and actually make it work somehow, then good. But that, of course, is not the proposal that's on the table. There is a proposal from the Trump administration. I know we can tell you about that here. But first, the story from govexec.com about they lost $8.8 billion in fiscal year 2019, more than doubling its losses from its previous year. So things are not getting better for the Postal Service. Raising the rates is not going to help. You raise the rates enough, you're just going to give people reasons to come up with alternative ways to deliver things. And remember, one of the other benefits the Postal Service has that the others don't is free rent, because most of their buildings are provided by the federal government, so they have no cost to their actual operations as far as rent is concerned. In addition to that, the Postal Service is, like I said, they always have to keep going back to Congress to get permission to do things differently, which means they can't change quickly. So if they need to do something different, they got to go and convince all these dumb politicians to try to figure it out.
So similar to a question I raised earlier, is it not better then that they are technically an agency of the state? Because if they were set out on their own, had to incur all these additional expenses, had to raise their rates, don't you think the consumer backlash from doing, like if the true cost of a first class letter was like $1.50 or $2 or whatever, don't you think the backlash from consumers who now have to see that price to send the letter, to buy a stamp?
Yeah. Well, that would be great because
I don't care. That's their problem. They don't,
right. One of the other
send mail in.
benefits that they have that the others don't is, and this is what I wanted to say before, they have the benefit of a monopoly on first class mail.
Right.
So any mail that's under $1 is exclusively able to be delivered by the Postal Service. It's not legal for you to create a company and offer to deliver mail for under $1.
Right.
UPS and FedEx cannot have offers for under $1. So once the price of a first class stamp goes above $1, unless they change the law, which they could do, then they will finally be subject to competition in that area.
Last time I looked up that law, it was tied to the price of a stamp, so it kind of automatically bumps.
It does go up? Interesting.
But
All right,
if that's the case, though, could FedEx or UPS find a way to deliver first-class mail cheaper than what you're paying now?
I think they could, yeah, possibly.
Even though right now it's subsidized so highly?
Yeah, so they might be more efficient if they were actually subject to market pressures. And because UPS and FedEx legally cannot undercut the post office, we don't know what efficiencies they could create, although UPS gets a lot of grants, that would be able to be sustained if they had the market share that they would have if there wasn't somebody doing it at an 8 billion, whatever, not 12 billion, whatever it was, loss.
That's what I'm saying. But they're already operating at such a loss that you have to, I make the assumption that the cost would be so much greater than what it is now, right? Like right now, first class stamps like 55 cents.
Well, right now you're looking, and it might go up, and if it does, I don't care. Then only mail letters that are worth that to you. But I have no reason, because right now you're looking at government waste, so we have no idea what a stamp should cost. Maybe it should cost 25 cents. We have no idea.
Okay. Well, the results mark the 13th consecutive year the mailing agency has lost money. Although USPS did post a slight uptick in revenue to $71.3 billion, a precipitous decrease in mail usage continued to wreak havoc on the Postal Service's finance, with overall volume dropping by 3.8 billion pieces in the last year. Postal management suggested the spike in its losses over fiscal 2018 was not as dramatic as it appears at first glance. They're trying to do damage control. After controlling for an adjustment to interest rates paid for workers' compensation, losses this past fiscal year were $6.7 billion compared to $5.3 billion in the previous year. Oh, there's no problem. We only lost another billion this year.
Yeah.
USPS also took $7.3 billion onto its books for payments into its retiree pension fund and to pre-fund health benefits for future retirees, though it failed to actually make those payments due to its precarious financial situation. The Postal Service is seeking changes to its statutory requirements for those payments to give it more operational flexibility. Still, the agency's losses on the parts of its business that management can control spiked to $3.4 billion, a 70% increase from fiscal year 2018. They've relied on the growth of their shipping and package revenue, which accounts now for 1/3 of its business, to make up for losses from regular mail because, again, regular mail is going to continue to go down. Older folks who are more likely to send a letter to their grandson or whatever are dying off. Younger people have no real reason to use mail. You see a high level of businesses trying to encourage customers to go paperless, except email delivery for bills and things like that, because it just makes more sense financially. If a company doesn't have to send out paper notices, that saves them money, let alone the cost of the actual stamps and such. Shipping revenue was only up 6% this year, however, and actually declined in each of the last 2 quarters compared to the same periods a year previous. The Postmaster General, Megan Brennan, attributed the slowdown to increasing competition. She noted management
for first-class mail
is continued to, I guess. Email is a competitor, right? She noted management is continuing to make adjustments and cut costs, but reiterated her ongoing plea for Congress to provide reforms and for the agency's regulators to give the USPS governing board more freedom to set prices. So they can't make
$1 tax on every email sent.
Any decisions whatsoever, basically. She said, quote, however, revenue growth in our package business will never be enough to offset imbalances in the Postal Service's business model, which must be addressed through legislative and regulatory reforms in order to secure a sustainable future, said Brennan. USPS cut 4.3 million work hours in the last 3 quarters of fiscal 2019 through attrition and reduction in overtime. Spending on salaries and benefits still increased by $1 billion. Or 2%, and overall expenses jumped up by $1.9 billion. The agency paid off $2.2 billion in debt during the year, but still has $11 billion in debt outstanding. So, I mean, this is just a situation that no business could survive
they might just have an outdated business model.
Yes, they do.
Letters might just not be a viable business.
It's not. That's what she just said.
There's no... Well, but
that's what the Postmaster General just said.
Well, we technically don't know if it is, but it
even
is
their
very
delivery
likely
vehicles.
She can tell you it's not viable.
Well, no, she can't. She can tell you if she's losing money, but she doesn't have price signals.
I see what you're saying. The Postal Service recently issued its largest ever increase in the price of a stamp, but is currently fighting a legal battle to ensure its implementation. I hadn't heard about that. That's interesting. So there you go. They're still having tremendous financial difficulties, but the Trump administration has a proposal. Slew of changes to the Postal Service's operations. This story also from govexec.com, written just a few weeks ago, February 10th.
Going to run it like Trump's other businesses.
Meaning failures. It says it will save $97 billion and put the financially strapped agency back on a stable path. This was included in a 2021 budget proposal. And absent changes, the administration estimates the agency will lose $7 billion this year and $8 billion through the year 2030. As part of the reforms, they said the Postal Service should offer employees lower pay that would put them more in line with other federal employees. Well, good luck, because there's a Postal
with
Service...
other federal employees, and this is from the post office, right?
Yeah, and there is a postal
saying.
union, by the way, that's going to stand in the way of that kind of change. There's more coming up here, and you can share your thoughts on the Postal Service. It's Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward Liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the Liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,675, silver at $17.35, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,122. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, Operation Palladium has begun. Hundreds of agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement have entered New York and other sanctuary cities in a fresh attempt to round up undocumented immigrants. Mid-Press News reports the directive, according to officials, is simple. Arrest as many undocumented immigrants as possible and flood the streets with officers. Beginning a 24/7 surveillance and detention program, ICE leadership has requested over 500 special agents who normally work fighting trafficking and organized crime to bolster the agency's numbers. That follows an earlier decision to deploy immigration SWAT teams to round up undocumented immigrants in sanctuary cities. New York Times reporter Annie Carrill shared a viral image taken through a peephole of a Bronx apartment, showing an ICE agent brandishing an assault weapon and demanding to enter. Carrill claims that the officers were going door to door, threatening to force their way in, and residents said they did not present a warrant, both breaches of the law. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. News of the coronavirus and the resulting potentially deadly disease spreading throughout the United States and across the world continues to develop rapidly. They might unleash reports that, according to a map managed by Johns Hopkins, there are now over 101,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and nearly 3,500 deaths worldwide. The CDC, meanwhile, is reportedly refusing to test a nurse with symptoms that volunteered to assist with COVID-19 patients at a California hospital. According to a letter posted on Twitter by Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, the CDC claims that she cannot be tested because she was properly protected during her time volunteering. Meanwhile, Dr. Feigl-Ding said that 22 million Californians are now eligible for free medically necessary COVID-19 testing. However, there may still be a discrepancy when it comes to deciding which situations warrant testing and which ones don't. As coronavirus panic hits the United States, a financial lobbying group is attempting to use the crisis to push through the deregulation of its industry. Mid-Press News reports the Bank Policy Institute, a Washington-based lobbying organization representing many of the nation's largest banks, released a set of proposals this week, the most important of which recommends that the Federal Reserve lower capital requirements to zero. That would mean banks could lend an unlimited amount without having any assets or wealth to back it up. It also advocated relaxing the so-called stress tests that force banks to show that they can withstand economic shocks. This, it claims, would help America fight the COVID-19 virus. The report's lead author was BPI CEO Greg Baer, former managing director of J.P. Morgan Chase. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I recently signed up for one of these self-defense classes and brought along a camera crew to watch. Take a good look at this class instructor.
Thank you very much.
Boy, was he smooth. He tried to butter us up with flowery compliments like, good work, nice try.
Yeah!
But don't worry, folks, I wasn't letting my guard down for 1 second. Maybe he wasn't planning to attack me at all, but he could potentially plan to attack me at some point, and that left only one option. Take him out first. This is the guy. My quarry approached, and when the moment was right, I struck.
Oh!
I knew he'd be able to counter my every move if I just did what he had taught me, so instead, I did exactly the opposite. I beat him with a baseball bat.
I am Shelby Cross! Do not ever attack me!
Now, folks, I acknowledge that this man may have never been a threat, but a potential threat is just as dangerous as a real one. I don't play games with my life, and neither should you, and that's it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. It is the live Sunday edition of the show. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Richie Rich.
And Melanie.
Also, the next generation of wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, exchange digital money in seconds. And Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar in the mobile app, as well as withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches because of Divvy's relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org. That's divvyproject.org. We've been talking about the United States Postal Service and it's just dismal financial status, having lost in fiscal year 2019 $8.8 billion, which doubles its losses over the previous year.
So they're going to shut it down, right? You can't lose that much money and still...
No, because they are a government agency, they will not be shutting down.
Okay.
They have a mandate to operate, even if it's at a loss, apparently. But yet, they want you to believe that they're somehow continuing to operate without taxpayer bailout. And I just don't understand how that could possibly be happening, even with all the bennies that they get, like free rent, which a lot of their postal service offices are in government buildings, so they don't have to pay any rent. They still lose a tremendous amount of money every single year. So how is that possible if they're not being shored up by taxpayer money? That's what I don't get. If you can explain that to me, feel free to dial in here because, I'm certainly no CEO or anything like that. I don't understand a lot about, business finance, but if we were losing a bunch of money, we'd be off the air.
I mean, most people wouldn't be able to lose $1 billion,
right?
Because they don't have it to lose.
That's what I'm saying. Where is it coming from? As part of the reforms, by the way, so Trump's got a reform package. It's a $97 billion reform package. This story from govexec.com. Government Executive is the name of the website. So they're talking about, again, the Postal Service has to go to the government in order to change its business model. They can't just, the board of directors can't just say, okay, raise the rates or cut the staff or, they have to go to Congress to change most of the things.
Lower the wages.
So that's one of the proposals, is that they will be lowering pay that would put Postal Service employees in line with other federal employees. Now, Melanie, you were about to, I think, comment at the very end of this last segment.
Other federal employees would
suggesting
imply that they are federal employees.
Right. And it also, don't forget, federal employees make way more money then if they have counterparts in the private sector, they make way more
yes.
than the federal government. So, I mean, even if you're cutting the rates to standard federal rates, it's still way above what, say, a FedEx driver would be making. The plan also assumes less generous retirement and health care benefits that it proposed for the rest of the federal workforce would also apply to USPS employees. The Postal Service should have a more flexible rate-setting system, says the administration, enabling it to raise prices significantly on most packages and other services that it considers to be non-essential. It should also change its standards to enable less frequent mail delivery and allow the private sector to conduct some mail sorting. The White House plan would give outside entities access to mailboxes and provide new revenue streams at post offices.
See, if they were a private business, none of that sounds unreasonable to me, right? That seems like, we need to change things up, and these are some suggestions, and maybe this will work.
Most of that sounds reasonable to me anyway. Like, how hard up are you to get mail on Saturday? Like, do you care? Like,
well, if I'm waiting for something, I'd like to come on Saturday. Yeah, I'd like it to come on Sunday.
People who get their checks mailed to them,
and the Postal Service is
doing that.
The Postal Service trucks are on the roads on Sunday. Why? Amazon has hired them for Sunday deliveries.
Is that still true? Because Amazon has their own fleet around here, man, and it's nice.
I've seen it well before Amazon. Okay. I thought they were just taking mail from one center to the other. Because I've seen that way before Amazon was a thing.
Conan, our Tuesday night host, Conan he's a Postal Service guy. Yeah. He's a contractor for them. So he's not a salaried employee. He's a contract worker.
So is he a federal employee, Melanie?
Technically, he's a federal contractor, not an employee. But he
Conan is the mailman.
So yeah, he does a lot of work for them, and he's out every Sunday doing package delivery for Amazon.
Okay,
that's what he does. So they could deliver Sunday if they wanted to, but they're looking to cut back on the amount of delivery.
Well, because it costs more. They're not making any more. I mean,
right.
Okay, so apparently I'm wrong, and a couple of people do like Saturday delivery, but for the price differential that would cost, do you want Saturday and Sunday delivery, or would you rather mail just not be obscenely expensive?
The plan, let's see, they say they should be able to set their rates better. The White House plan would give outside entities access to mailboxes, which is interesting, right? Because it's a crime.
That's a weird thing. Yeah. It's already a weird thing. It's your mailbox.
If you go, no, it's not.
Until you put it up and plant it in the dirt, it's your mailbox.
As soon as you put it in the dirt, it becomes federal property.
I walk into Home Depot, I can buy a mailbox, I can do whatever I want with it inside my home, but as soon as I put it on a post and stick it in the dirt outside, it somehow becomes federal property.
Crazy. It's crazy, isn't it?
Why would it become federal property if the post office was private? That doesn't make any sense either.
I remember being a kid walking around the neighborhood. I had some sort of flyer that I needed to deliver. I don't even remember what it was for, but I needed to flyer the neighborhood for some reason. And I was just putting them in mailboxes. I didn't know that it was a federal crime.
And would you have cared?
And I didn't, in point of fact, care. Somebody was like sitting out in their yard, and they yelled at me because I was putting it in there. They said, "Well, that's illegal. You can't do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can."
Or have you ever seen like the local newspaper companies where they have their own separate box on the same post?
Yeah.
How inefficient that is.
Yeah.
That you have to spend the outlay on that to put it right next to the box that's already there.
Yep. So going on here, USPS would also be able to remove the payments toward the health benefits for future retirees that it has defaulted on from its balance sheet by re-amortizing those liabilities over a 40-year period. The House voted last week to eliminate that pre-funding requirement entirely, so that's going to help them a little bit.
Yeah, that's just fraud, though. That's not actually getting rid of an expense.
Absent from the budget blueprint was a plan to sell off the Postal Service to the private sector, which the administration previously pitched in its reorganization strategy. Asked on Monday if the administration is still pushing that goal, their deputy director said, quote, "Our thinking has evolved over the last 18 months." So much for the privatization plan. That is off the table.
Also, private entities don't need privatization plans because they're already private.
Yeah. The White House said its plan would stabilize the mailing agency and save nearly $100 billion over the next 11 years, though it estimated USPS would shed nearly 7,000 employees in fiscal year 2021. Well, do you believe them? Do you think that these reforms, if put into place, would stabilize the patient?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it would benefit in some way because, like I said, all of those reforms sound reasonable to me for any business to undertake that's having that much difficulty. Whether it's enough to like right the ship, it's kind of like wait and see. Maybe.
Well, they're using the term stabilize, and in a hospital environment, that basically means you've stopped the hemorrhaging, right?
Yeah.
Like that's essentially what they are expecting to happen. But how long will it take them to put these changes into place if they're approved? Because again, this has to be approved by Congress. And so maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. They've been waiting for these changes for years. We've been discussing the Postal Service losing money for most of the last decade. They've been losing money hand over foot for more than a decade at this point. They've been waiting desperately for Congress to do something to allow them to run this thing differently. Maybe they'll do it this time, but they may not.
Run it like a private business, or shut it down, or open it up to competition.
Yeah. I'm skeptical. I think that even if this thing does pass, I think you're still going to see them lose money. I think they're still going to fail. And then what? Is the government going to bail them out? Are they going to print some money and shuffle that over to the Postal Service? Do a little inflation to solve the problem temporarily?
At least something. At least something for the pensioners.
I don't know that we should assume that they would fail if they were private.
That's not the proposal. That is not on the table. Privatization is not on the table at this time.
They've reconsidered that aspect.
Yep. So 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What defines a government agency? Richie, you still got like 2 more points.
2 more points. If you want to get to
on that. I do want to get to it, and we will do that coming up here in moments. And your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Don't miss this year's LibertyCon with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO John Mackey, Congressman Justin Amash, and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith. Attend 2 spectacular debates. Is government necessary, and does capitalism require government intervention? Network with over 70 pro-liberty organizations. This and a whole lot more. April the 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. Visit LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on LibertyCon.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything that you want here. And you can also learn about family finances via the CFO Project. Go to cfo-project.com. And Tom Young, the author and founder of the CFO Project, can show you how to be debt-free in 9 years or less, including your mortgage, without spending a single dollar more. He can show you how to create strategies now to save money without penalties and as little government involvement as possible. His book, The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, will show you exactly how to build wealth and eliminate debt at the same time. You can get your free copy over at cfo-project.com. With the current state of the federal debt at $23 trillion and the unfunded liabilities at $127 trillion, you can't wait to take control of your money. Don't be like the Postal Service. Let your retirement savings be used to bail out the government. You need to go to cfo-project.com. Invest in yourself and your family today. Get your free copy of The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, at cfo-project.com. As we continue here, Ian, Ritchie, and Melanie in the studio. Tonight we go to the phones to your calls and thoughts. Ronnie is in Tennessee, listening in Chattanooga to WGOW FM. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, you were talking about stopping the hemorrhaging at the post office and try to stabilize it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a lot more than just new initiatives and stuff like that, because the place is seriously mismanaged, and that I've got a little better insight than most people.
Is that because you work for them?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Huh?
Tell me more about what it's like.
Well, I mean, like, they had people that got new positions in Washington. One of them didn't even change offices, and one of them just moved down the hall, and they got $300,000 and $500,000 moving expenses, respectively.
Wow, so the gravy train's pretty heavy duty if you're at the top levels, huh?
Not the postmaster we have now, but the postmaster before, his base salary was $500,000. And he got $1.25 million in entitlements and bonuses, but yet we claimed a loss.
I wonder if they'll cut his wages too. Then
probably
not.
No,
he's retired. They gave him like about $5 million just to go away.
Wow.
The main reason I called was we drive vehicles that are upwards of 30 years old, the ones that you keep hearing about in the news that catch fire just spontaneously.
Yeah, I read a few articles about that. Really old vehicles getting really bad gas mileage.
Well, the thing is, they're in the process of buying 122,000 new vehicles with a price tag of upwards of $6 billion, which that's understandable because they're special purpose vehicles, special built. But here's the point: they've been working on these vehicles for the since 2015 or 2016, I believe. Mm-hmm. We were told when they put out this bid to do these that delivery would be completed by the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. They have not even awarded the contract yet to build them.
Okay, so when I saw the headlines about the vehicles, I thought this would be an interesting time for like the Postal Service to move to EVs or electric vehicles, if they're going to get new vehicles anyway.
Well, they're talking they're saying 122,000 vehicles, and you're talking a 1-ton capacity, basically a large F-350 van, a 3,500 van. That would be one major manufacturer's entire production run for 3 years. So one manufacturer is not going to be able to do it. They're probably going to split it between at least 3. They've had prototypes built for testing. They've tested them through destruction. And they're talking about, in the South where I'm at, rear-wheel drive. Up north, rear-wheel drive, possibly four-wheel drive. And also in urban areas, Chicago, New York, downtown, stuff like that, having hydrogen-powered electric hybrid or something to, all facets. But in the process, have 3 different companies. It looks like they're going to have 3 different companies build them. One company build them that are up north that are salt-proofed. One company build them for in town that are electric hybrid, whatever. And another company build them that are your standard rear-wheel drive, off-the-shelf type thing.
Okay.
But
man,
first you got to award the contract, and then it's going to take at least 3 years. At least one company 3 years to build them, or 3 companies a year apiece.
This is another thing that I don't really have a problem with, right? Because if this was a private business and you have 30-year-old vehicles, right, you go like, okay, this is already outdated. We need to invest in the future of the business, right? So we're going to cut the old vehicles out, re-implement newer vehicles that are going to last a few more decades, and just do that now, right? Sure, you take a loss for the quarter or for the year, but it's a business investment in the long-term viability of the organization.
Meanwhile, you've got to suffer in these old claptrap vehicles that they've been driving forever that, according to one of our chatters, doesn't even have air conditioning.
No, they don't. And the reason they don't have air conditioning...
The door stays open. Come on.
True.
Well, no, it goes back to the old Jeeps. The old Jeeps, you didn't have air conditioning in the 70s. So when they built the new ones in the 80s, they're like, well, we can't put air conditioning in because the people driving the old Jeeps would demand retrofit air conditioning. I'm serious. You're talking union. Now, everybody has to be treated fairly. Now, I drive one of the newer vehicles. My vehicle was made in 2002, so mine's only 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But when they made those, they were going to air condition them. They said, we can't do that because they've now gotten rid of all the old Jeeps, but the ones that are the LLVs that were made in the 80s would demand air conditioning. Now, this whole new fleet is supposed to be air conditioned, or at least climate controlled. Let me correct that, climate controlled. But here's the point. I agree that they should be replaced, but it shouldn't take 8 to 10 years once you decide to replace them.
This is government, though. I mean, they are not known for being efficient or fast in any way.
I don't mind the no air conditioning either. Like most of my adult life, I drove a car without AC. So
in Hawaii,
Hawaii.
And see, it's really having the door open. Air conditioning would be moot point.
Yeah, it's going to negate that.
Having an actual fan that will move air would be okay. Not having the one I drive
those
has
little
a huge
clip-on
windshield
fans
area.
that I've had.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ronnie, go ahead.
Mine has a huge greenhouse area that I put a thermometer up where it got to 136 degrees and then just quit working.
Wow.
You're talking about
a greenhouse in the vehicle?
In other words, I've got a big black flat dash and a sloped windshield. That greenhouse area that just collects sunlight and
just
bakes
heat,
the dash.
massive heat. Okay. Wow. Well, I guess you got to drink a lot of water.
I put a digital thermometer up there. It got to 136, and the thermometer quit working. And when I say quit working, I mean I took it home and got it cooled off, and it wouldn't work.
Unbelievable.
Tint the window, paint the dash white.
So what do you think about some of these proposed changes that they're talking about?
Well, the whole pre-funding of thing, that would be like when you got married, and the government immediately said, okay, you have to pay for your grandchildren's college now. You not even know if you're going to have children yourself, let alone grandchildren, so why are you going to be paying for their college? But somebody said you had to. That's how the pre-funding of the retirement thing goes. That's stupid. In
my opinion, defined benefit pensions are stupid, but if you're going to have them, anyone else would have to fund them.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to fund them 70 years in advance.
Well, then it turns into like a Social Security situation where you're never sure if it's going to be funded for the people.
For people to dip into.
Ronnie, thanks for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate the inside scoop. Feel free to call us any old time with the latest from the inside of the Postal Service. Definitely appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for that. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We got more on the way. Richie still has some from his original story that we started the show out with about, what does it mean to be a government agency if you're a private company? Is it possible to also be private and government at the same time? It's Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McElvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Well, it's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one.
Today, Pennington's black part of town moved across the river to North Pennington. The Thompson family sold their home on the east side and moved to the old Kirkland Place at 17 Mansfield Place, establishing the all-new black neighborhood. North Side residents are looking forward to the infusion of fun and funk that the new black part of town is sure to bring to their area. Mayor Mitzi Kranowitz presided over the dedication of the new black neighborhood, unveiling a sign designating it a landmark district.
It's lovely, everyone. Pennington's diversity is its strength, whether it's Little Harlem or the so-called Gayborhood where Paul and his partner Bryant have that cottage.
Sheriff Stevens today announced that the heavy round-the-clock patrols that helped make the old Thompson house one of the safest neighborhoods in town will move with them.
This has nothing to do with the black part of town moving here. We just want to make sure that everyone here has a comfortable place to live.
This is the Onion News Network.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you may join us here. It is the live Sunday edition. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, with you tonight, it's Ian.
Richie Rich.
And Melanie.
We've got the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, we're going to go to one of those coming up here in a moment. Somebody waiting patiently there. But I do want you to know about the Edge wallet. It is a great wallet. It's the one that I use in real life more often than any other. Used it tonight, as a matter of fact. We went out to dinner together. And a local burger here in Keene takes cryptocurrency, so I got to pay with
Dash tonight. You can use Edge to hold a bunch of different cryptos. Not only hold, but also buy, sell, trade as well. Bitcoin Cash, they got that. Ethereum, various Ethereum tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, BTC Bitcoin, even Bitcoin SV, and others over at Edge Wallet. You can download your copy at iOS or at the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store. Or just go to edge.app to learn more about the technology behind Edge. That's EDGE edge.app. You can secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. As we continue, we'll take your calls and thoughts. Mortified Penguin is on the line on our Discord server. Hello there, Penguin, calling from Virginia.
Hey, guys. I wanted to talk to you guys and the audience and everybody who's kind of has libertarian ideas and on the fence about libertarianism, and of course libertarians who generally know these things. In the election season that we're in right now, it's always worth reminding what is politics and the nature of politics and what it has to do with liberty. And really,
what's at stake?
I'm sorry?
The freedom that's at stake, the liberty that's at stake with the next election.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad choice because we're given the choice of two, socialized top-down systems. One is ostensibly for public benefit, and more of listeners than not would probably understand some of the problems that come with that, with calculation costs and all, and just not having a market system. And the second is an equally socialized system just for private benefit. And those are really beyond the pale of liberty and human freedom, and really don't conform to human liberation, which I think is a goal that we all generally share, or at least we all at least want freedom for ourselves, and in the aggregate we would want freedom for humanity. At least you would think it'd be in people's best interest, but that's apparently not, because the system sustains itself.
Given the choice, wouldn't the public benefit be the best choice then, rather than those greedy private entities?
Well, yeah, it would be benefit some people in the short term, but the possibility, and on the margins, and sure, maybe some people would benefit, and some people obviously benefit from the other system, the privileged few that have concentrated benefit while the government socializes losses in our current system. Sure, some people are benefiting, but I think
so. Vote against the privileged few. Vote for the public at large.
You can't do that. The privileged few are all the ones that are running for office.
Exactly. The ones who are running for office and the ones that fund their campaigns. And we know how much they fund their campaigns. It's public record.
Right.
I mean, they work for we know who runs this country, and it's not the politicians directly. We know their financing is public knowledge.
Well, you had a chance to vote for Bloomberg, right? Who was like self-funding his entire campaign, and for as short-lived as that was.
All right. So we know politics is a scam. What is it that what do you want to drive at here? What's the point?
The point is that we will never get to bottom up. We will never get to a society that views the individual as the basic unit, maybe the family, but basically the individual or the family as the basic unit through politics. And
so how are you going to get there?
That's a good question. So how do we get there? Well, through peaceful revolution. I think you guys have a pretty good idea of what's up. I mean, and you just got to look at your activism with Bitcoin and targeting the financial system, and just peaceful revolution is basically applying that to every single facet of society: education, healthcare. It can be done. It will take. There will be resistance from the state.
But what are you proposing? Are you saying people using Bitcoin is somehow going to make the individual somehow respected? I don't understand that.
Well, opting out of the system, because honestly, opting out of the system. I mean, you guys.
Right. I keep telling them I'm opting out, but they just keep pushing me back in.
And I don't know what to say. I don't know how to get the numbers myself. I don't know how you would get the numbers.
Here's how you do it. In my opinion, the best bet is to concentrate people who have a similar belief system in one geographic area. Because if you're going to opt out, but you're all by yourself and no one else is going to opt out with you, then you basically are going to get cut down and you're going to get either thrown in a jail cell or they're going to kill you. But if you have enough people around who are also of a similar belief system, who are there to support you and also join you in your opting out, then you become a formidable opposition. You become basically unstoppable, because if there's enough people, they don't have enough jail cells basically, and they can't build them fast enough to put you in. But as long as people are separated by distance, geographic distance, I don't think we have any hope of changing anything.
Yeah, and I've there's arguments probably on both sides of that, but I think in regards to who's actually making progress, I think you guys are actually making some interesting progress. Like I've read through Konkin, and he had one line, Sam Konkin, the guy behind Agorism, he had one line saying that a bunch of libertarians moving to some place is kind of an ineffective idea. But I mean, who's making maybe he thought that California and then spreading throughout where he lived and spreading throughout the United States, there was all going to be all these agorists forming their own underground economies. Well, it didn't happen.
Nope.
I mean, who's making some progress? I think you guys are making some tangible progress.
Even here in New Hampshire, right, the argument can be made that we are still too spread out, right? So I was at dinner with a gentleman from Derry. Mm-hmm. He was like, Derry is a winnable city, right? It's like on the outskirts of Manchester. Town. Yeah, sure. He's like, Derry is a winnable city. If only we could get more people to move to Derry and vote in Derry, right? I go to Keene for the for Free Talk Live,
the show,
right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? If only we could get more people to move to Keene.
But the thing is, we don't have enough people, period. That's
right.
The thing.
So we still would spread them out across New Hampshire. Not spread them out. Well, they would still spread out across New Hampshire. Because you still have to deal with the state government.
And we're not talking about political solutions here, right? Mortified Penguin is talking about solutions that don't involve politics. Getting out and creating, cryptocurrency acceptance,
sure,
and opting out of consenting to government demands and taxes and things like that. These are things that could be done if we had a significant portion of people here. The fact is, there's only about 2,000 movers for the Free State Project thing, right?
You got like a year. Everyone that's signed, the 20,000 that signed the document, you have a year left.
There's 1 year left. That's right. February of 2021 will be the 5 year
less than a year
window. And I guarantee you by that time, it's not going to be 5,000. There's not going to be, even if you include all the friends of the Free State Project, it isn't even, I don't think, to 5,000 people. There's not a whole lot of people that have done this. And so I just don't know if libertarians are really that serious. I think they like to talk and think. I think they like to read, but when it comes to actually doing the things that they believe in, I don't think they mean it.
A lot of them like to run for office.
I don't know that there's a lot. I don't know that there's a lot of
they
us
barely exist
at all. So
yeah, well, they barely exist.
Every serious anarchist could move to New Hampshire. That still might not be enough.
There are a lot of people. Like if you look at Ron Paul and how fanatical people were about his campaign,
right? But I'm not counting all those people as libertarians necessarily. They
may not be the most libertarian people, but they were certainly good prospects, and there are probably a good, hundreds of thousands of people who probably are pretty libertarian, but they don't do anything.
Well, if you're only pretty libertarian, there's no reason why you would do anything. Like you're fighting for a cause that you literally don't believe in. At that point is kind of what you're asking.
Well, look, there's 20,000 people who signed up for the Free State Project, and only 10% of them have moved.
That was a while ago. Those people aren't even all still alive.
That's true,
they
but most
signed
of them
the document,
are.
man.
Most of them are. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Penguin. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens. We support the amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Jeunesse products are designed by leading doctors in their field with natural ingredients and even stem cell technology. These products help your body perform and look better. Shop Jeunesse at gcnlife.com or call 1-844-443-6637. gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
I don't even recognize myself anymore.
I'm really worried about him. His addiction. I haven't seen him like this. Ever.
Hey, look, I never wanted to start using. I knew the drill, but I was out of options.
I just want to tell him it's not your fault. There are people out there who can help. People who have felt your pain. They know what you're going through.
This has to stop. I'm losing everything. Everyone.
You've been strong your whole life. You can do this, but you have to reach out for help.
It's time. I can do this.
Addiction is a disease, and diseases need treatment.
Call Quit Drugs 321 now at 800-377-1456. 800-377-1456. That's 800-377-1456. Paid for by the Detox and Treatment Helpline.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want in these remaining moments. We may have enough time for you if you dial in now. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. Also, the Discord call-in line rooms are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. Forkfest 2020 is coming up in just a few months from now. At basically 3-ish months, we're going to be happening at the Rogers Campground in northern New Hampshire in the White Mountains. Beautiful location, cool people to be hanging out with, and where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists here in the Shire. What is Forkfest? It's a decentralized libertarian camping festival. What's that mean? Well, to be decentralized means there's no one in charge. There's nobody who is running this event. There's no ticket sales. There's no organizers. And I was actually talking with the organizer of the Porcupine Freedom Festival at the recent New Movers party, and I don't think she understood that. I think she believed that I was in charge of Forkfest, and I'm like, no, I'm not in charge of this thing. There's no one who is in charge of this. In fact, people call it different things.
Porkfest Classic?
Yeah, Taryn Lupo came up with Porkfest Classic, which I thought was awesome. It used to be called like Shirefest and
Let's see. There was another one. Somalia Fest.
Just
Somalia
show up
Fest.
on the dates.
Yeah. And so it's June 29th until July 5th. No ticket cost. All you got to do is reserve your campsite or RV site or motel room if you like. There's all three of them available at Rogers Campground, June 29th until July 5th. And then do whatever you want. Maybe you just want to relax and kick back and enjoy kind of, camping atmosphere with other libertarian, voluntarist, anarchist types. Or maybe you want to create a thing for other people to enjoy. Maybe you've got a talent that you want to showcase. Or maybe you want to create some place where other people can showcase their talents. Maybe you could put up a stage and, have people speak or play music or, maybe put a game night together, a poker table or whatever. Or maybe you want to cook for people. There's all of that could happen. I certainly know people are planning to cook. I know Man Camp is going to be back. Jay Noon's doing that. And then let's see, what else? Of course, Free Talk Live will be there. We'll be broadcasting from the event. And what else have I heard? There's Ladies Night Out or something like that, I believe is what it's called. Aria is putting that together along with some other ladies. So that's going to be a new thing this year, by the way. And I think somebody's going to be playing music this time.
Are they going to go out and about like on the campground?
I don't know.
Or are they venturing off-site?
You're going to have to ask them. Don't ask me. I don't know.
I'm not going to be invited, Ian.
You can still ask. You can still ask what they're doing. They're talking about it in the ForkFest chat room. Right. You can access that on the Telegram platform. You can get the link to it over at forkfest.party and also the link to the ForkFest forum and some basic information about the event. It's, again, June 29th until July 5th. If you care about freedom and you like this idea of being around other people who care about liberty, then come experience it for a week. With us, because this goes back to what we were just discussing, the kind of the frustration with people in the liberty movement doing a lot of talking about liberty. Now, Melanie, you kind of use the excuse that there aren't that many libertarians. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been to a bunch of these conferences, right? Anarchapulco is one of them, where there was over 2,000 people, most of whom would describe themselves as anarchists or voluntarists. Various different libertarian events and such. There's thousands and thousands of libertarians out there across the United States, but most of them are tied down for whatever reason or another, and they feel like they can't leave wherever it is that they are, and that's just the way it is.
Right, so even if every anarchist in the United States was living in New Hampshire,
which won't ever happen.
But even if it was, I do not think that is enough to effectively resist the state at this point.
I think you'd have a significant resistance if you had tens of thousands of people here.
Things would be a lot better, but you wouldn't be able to be like, okay, I'm ignoring the state and just going about my life.
If all of those people ignored the state, then you would be able to. They wouldn't be able to go after them all. But the problem is most of them, even the ones that are here, aren't willing to do any civil disobedience. They're not willing to actually put them, any kind of freedom on the line. They just want to vote.
Well, the point is you wouldn't be.
That's the frustration.
The point is you would have
underground.
The point would be to have enough people that you weren't really putting much on the line anymore. Not that we all go get arrested. And I mean, there's value to civil disobedience, but you don't just want everybody to just commit civil disobedience all day. You need.
Well, I would love to see people not pay property taxes. I would love to see a mass non-payment of property taxes. I want to see the government go and throw families out of their house.
See, this is what it comes down to with that sort of thing.
They're going to. They've done it before.
Let's do it. Get it on video.
The frustration is it's okay to petition the government for freedom. It's okay to beg for more freedom. It's okay to vote for freedom, right? But to defend your freedom against those who are encroaching it is somehow still frowned upon.
Well, yeah, we got to convince people that that's okay first. I'm working on that.
Right. But if you're going to have a property tax protest, and you're going to get people thrown out of the house, one of two things happens. Either it looks really good on video, right? Like, oh my God, I can't believe the government's doing this.
Yeah, throw some children out in the streets.
Nobody's going to care, right? Aside from our community, because that happens in neighborhoods all over the country already.
No, it doesn't. It almost never happens because most people will pay.
But people get
into situations where they can't pay, and then they get kicked out, and the
most of the people who are getting evicted are renters. They're not people who own homes.
Not necessarily.
The state seizes houses for non-payment of property tax all the time, and I don't think that those people.
No, it doesn't. Here in Keene, they haven't had one of those in the whole time I've lived here.
Has anybody not been able to pay? So, that's the thing.
That's the thing,
Keene is kind of a wealthy area compared to some places.
Not. No, it's not. It's actually
Keene
less wealthy
it's
actually less wealthy than most of the rest of New Hampshire, with the exception of the North Country.
New Hampshire is a wealthy state, though. So, do you think the people in Keene
I'm just telling you,
are
it hasn't
having
happened
trouble paying their property taxes? Because that's what I don't think is the case.
What usually happens is if somebody has trouble paying property taxes, they come up with some sort of a deal with the city where it's like, okay, well, we'll pay this portion, and then they get a little bit of money, and that sort of kicks the can down the road so they don't get their property seized.
So what I was saying is either you get that on video, right? Oh my God, they're throwing kids out of houses, and then what are you going to do? Right, they're still going to lose the house. They're still going to have to fight.
Yeah, we're talking about like a $500,000 almost civil
Well, there was the old
disobedience.
Save a Patriot insurance fund, or it wasn't really insurance, but I don't know if you remember this. That was I don't know if they still exist. I think they actually might have gone after the principals. The government might have gone after them, but what they would do is the idea was that it was a group of people who weren't paying taxes to the federal government.
Yeah,
and the proposal was that you would join as a member of this organization, and then there would be enough members to where if the federal government happened to target one of their members, they would send out an alert to all their members and say, Richie's been targeted. He needs your help. Send your donations to Richie Rich in Manchester. Here's his address. Here's his PayPal. They didn't have
what is
crypto
that money
at that
going to do? They're still going to, unless I'm going to
it would buy you a new house.
Okay.
Is the idea.
Of which I'm still
Or
not
it
going to
would
pay
be-
property tax, of which
Yeah.
they're still going to take away. So you're still just funding.
Okay, so then at that point you're giving the state houses. You're giving the state like a parade of houses instead of just the $2 to $12,000, depending on where you live. It is a year.
But if you defend that house against those coming to take
You mean with violence?
why not? It's defensive violence.
Yeah, I just don't think violence solves problems. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here, and then ultimately you kind of become the thing that you hate. Let's talk to David in California. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Yeah, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, I was interested in the coronavirus issue and how libertarians stand on cutting the budget for the World Health Organization and then ripping apart the Center for Disease Control budget just as a penny, what is it? Penny saved, or no?
Penny saved
penny
is a penny
pound,
earned?
pound, penny wise and pound foolish. Do libertarians think it's a good idea to rip apart healthcare budgets?
Well, so healthcare budgets, I mean, a budget is something where you make money and you say, I'm going to spend X amount on this. You should have a healthcare budget for yourself, but should we dissolve federal and multinational
No, it's
agencies?
an epidemic.
Yes.
There's a budget for in case there's an epidemic. Now, Trump came into office. One of the first things he did was he took $2.8 billion from World Health Organization, yanked it. Epidemics around the world.
The U.S. isn't even in
World Aid on
control of the
epidemics.
World Health Organization. That's not, even from a
So that
status
was
standpoint,
at the
that's not the U.S.'s
beginning.
job.
How many years now has it been that China's had this thing emerging? Just about the same amount of time that Trump cut the budget. So China could have had little aid, little communications with the rest of the world with that budget, and they weren't there.
China would have done it anyway. They've done their best to cover up the coronavirus as much as possible until they absolutely couldn't.
Right,
hide
you
the fact
got
that it was
people
out anymore.
ducking responsibility. Every culture does that.
So why
but I'm
fund those
saying that
people?
Trump cut the budget for the World Health Organization.
Here's
by
what you ought to
2
do.
point-
He's not in charge of an international organization's
It
budget.
wasn't
They may
there
donate
when it
to
was
it.
needed.
I mean, the government may give money to them. I don't know, but taxpayer dollars. I'm not sure how they're funded exactly. But here's what you ought to do if you care about freedom and you care about healthcare: is advocate for the government to get out of all of it, and then allow the marketplace to exist in healthcare. Bring costs down by competition, and allow people to voluntarily contribute to the things that they want to support. There's your solution: voluntary choices. Check out Richie Rich over at the Anarchist Experience at anarchistexperience.com. He's
Thanks,
got a
sir.
podcast.
I do.
And it's a weekly thing, so go and subscribe to that. And we will see you online between tomorrow and now at freetalklive.com.
Our history classes start teaching the Constitution around 1776 or even later. The foundation of our Constitution goes deeper than that. Without examining the context that gave America its principles and its founding documents, we cannot understand the foundation of our liberty and our constitutional republic. Liberty First University teaches online classes in a way that all ages find compelling and understandable, from middle school to law school. Join us at lfu.freetalklive.com to watch the free pre-recorded webinar. Watch now at lfu.freetalklive.com.
Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,675, silver at $17.35, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,122. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, Operation Palladium has begun. Hundreds of agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement have entered New York and other sanctuary cities in a fresh attempt to round up undocumented immigrants. Mid-Press News reports the directive, according to officials, is simple. Arrest as many undocumented immigrants as possible and flood the streets with officers. Beginning a 24/7 surveillance and detention program, ICE leadership has requested over 500 special agents who normally work fighting trafficking and organized crime to bolster the agency's numbers. That follows an earlier decision to deploy immigration SWAT teams to round up undocumented immigrants in sanctuary cities. New York Times reporter Annie Carrill shared a viral image taken through a peephole of a Bronx apartment, showing an ICE agent brandishing an assault weapon and demanding to enter. Carrill claims that the officers were going door to door,